right, let's get right into this one. Picture it. It's Christmas Day on a super busy interstate right near Seattle. And what kicks off as a pretty standard wellness check is about to just explode into a scene of pure high-speed chaos.
And there it is. That's the exact moment everything flipped. You can just hear the disbelief in that voice, right? It's the climax of the whole story. But to really get how we ended up here, we've got to go back. Way back.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you get from a simple welfare check to a wild chase? Well, to get that answer, we need to rewind the clock. Because before there was a chase, there was a conversation. A very, very long one. And that's where this whole thing really gets started. So for almost a full hour, Washington State Patrol troopers were trying to help a man they found just walking along the shoulder of Interstate 5. I mean, their approach was straight out of the training manual for de-escalation. Build a connection, offer help, keep everyone safe. But, they were about to run into a situation that no manual could ever really prepare them for.
And this right here, this is where you see the huge disconnect. On one side, you've got these officers trying literally everything they can think of to end this peacefully. And on the other side, you have a man who is so trapped in his own despair that he just can't or won't accept any of it. It's like they're speaking two completely different languages, two realities just colliding on the side of a highway.
And seriously, just look at the list of things they offered him. This wasn't just a, hey, you gotta move along. They offered a ride to anywhere. Hot food, a warm blanket. They even offered to pay for a light rail ticket out of their own pockets. They were really throwing everything at the wall, just hoping something would stick and break this stalemate. And his response, man, it tells you everything you need to know. He sees they're being kind. He gets that they're trying to help him. But then he says I don't deserve it. So this wasn't about him being angry at the police. This was about this deep, profound feeling of worthlessness he had about himself.
Yeah, this is the crucial point. When an officer tries to reassure him, telling him he hasn't done anything wrong, he just says, this is what I deserve. In his mind, he belongs out there, in the cold, on the edge of a dangerous freeway. And understanding that state of mind is the absolute key to understanding why an hour of patient work was about to completely fall apart.
So after nearly an hour of this back and forth, the stalemate finally breaks. And it breaks in the most dangerous way you can imagine. The man, who tells them his name is Alex, makes a sudden, desperate move that just changes the entire game.
And this all happened in a heartbeat. 1 second they're talking, the next, Alex just bolts straight into oncoming traffic. An officer, running on pure instinct to save his life, sprints out after him. And in that split second, her patrol car is just sitting there empty, engine running. Alex sees his chance, dodges right around her, and just like that, a mental health crisis turns into a high-speed carjacking.
One of the officers just perfectly summed up the absolute chaos of that moment with this description. It's a wild image, right? But it really paints a picture of just how unpredictable and incredibly dangerous this whole thing had become. Not just for him, but for every single person driving on that interstate. And with that, it's on. We are in a full-blown police chase. The stolen cop car is now basically a missile, flying down one of the busiest highways in the entire state on Christmas Day. 120 miles an hour. Let that sink in for a second. That's how fast they were going. A stolen police cruiser just weaving through holiday traffic at insane speeds. The danger to the public was going up every single second. This had to end, and it had to end now. So you might be asking, how in the world do you stop a car going that fast without causing a massive catastrophic pileup? Well, officers were given the green light to use what's called a pit maneuver. It's a really high risk, but also high skill move where the goal is to force the other car into a controlled spin. You gotta have incredible precision and nerves of steel to pull that off at these kinds of speeds. And the execution was flawless. As soon as command gave the okay, an officer expertly got his car into position, made that perfect little tap on the back corner, and sent the stolen cruiser spinning safely to a stop. I mean, within seconds, the chase was over, and the suspect was surrounded and taken into custody. Okay, so the chase is over, the immediate danger is gone, now the focus shifts to the aftermath. And it's a complicated mess of legal charges, mental health questions, and just the human toll of that wild hour on the freeway.
So we learn the suspect's name is Alexander Eugene Smith. And later, in court documents, it came out that he told prosecutors he'd used meth before all this went down, which, that just adds another really complex layer to what was going on in his head that day.
So as you can see, he's facing some very serious felony charges. Second-degree robbery, which is probably for taking the patrol car itself, which makes it more than just theft, and of course, eluding a police vehicle. But as of early 2026, the whole legal process is kind of on pause. Smith was found incompetent to stand trial, and his next competency hearing is scheduled for later this year. In those first moments, right after his arrest, surrounded by the flashing lights, Smith just said, "I'm crazy. I'm sorry." And an officer, after everything he'd just been put through, simply replied, "It's okay, it's okay." It's just this incredibly powerful, human moment that brings the whole story full circle, right back to that mix of crisis and compassion on the side of the road.
And all of this leaves us with a really tough question. In a situation where a perfect, by the book de escalation runs smack into a deep human crisis, a situation where, thankfully, no one was physically hurt, but now the system has to pick up all these pieces, what does success actually look like? There's really no easy answer to that, and it's right at the heart of this unbelievable Christmas Day story.